Hello, friends. Welcome back. So sorry I am already gone again, but I wanted to film a little tutorial of what we're going to be doing today for you guys. Feel free to pause this if you need to and take your time. This took every other class in fifth grade, the entire class to blend. So do not worry. We are going to be doing for our portfolio night a underwater adventure. So everything we're going to do leading up to portfolio night from here on out is all going to be based around underwater ocean fish, lakes, ponds, things like that. So today I thought it would be fun to kind of kickstart coming back to school with a little relaxing painting. Now, a couple of things before we start. Today, we are going to just do this background part, just the color blending. I know some of you guys are pros at this already, so feel free to use the skills that you already know. But if you are concerned, maybe follow along with me and I'll show you some tips. This little sun center area could be anywhere on the canvas. Don't feel like you need to go in the corner like I did. If you want to put it more in the middle or more on the bottom or top, that's okay too. This is just going to be the sun shining through the ocean. And we're going to do this step today. Now, before we get started, we are using acrylic paint today, and they are inside of these paint trays. Now, we don't want to mix the colors, but I put a little bit of a little extra color in these tubes, so hopefully we won't have to refill. You do not need a lot of color, a lot of paint. A little goes a long way, and if it gets a little too thick for you, you could add a little bit of water onto your paintbrush and blend it out, and that'll help you with the blending today. So with acrylic paint, it is different than the paint that we use usually for school. One big difference is that it is permanent. There is plastic in here, so when it dries, it turns to plastic. That is why today it will be so important that you make sure you clean the paintbrush very well. If the paintbrushes are left to dry, it will turn into plastic and it will not work anymore. We'll have to throw them out. Same thing if we forget to put the lid on the paint tray, it's going to all turn to plastic. So we don't want that to happen. We do want plastic to happen on our canvas. That's why sometimes it's a little shiny. I don't know if you could tell. Not really. But it turns out a little shiny, these paints, and it makes it really strong because it turns into plastic on the canvas. So because it is permanent, if it gets on your clothes, it will not wash out. So be very, very careful not to get tons of this on your clothes. We're not walking around with paintbrushes. We're not walking around with our paintings showing our neighbors. Keep everything at your table. No room in the room. And then drying right when we're done. We got to make sure we clean up really well after ourselves today. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I have three colors here. I have a light or white, a blue, and a teal color. So I know it's kind of hard to see on my camera. I'm going to start off with the white paint, and I'm going to decide wherever, oops, that's okay. I spilled a little bit on my canvas. Who cares? Wherever I want that little circle area to be, I'm going to say like right about here. I'm going to make a circle about the size of both my hands, making a little donut circle shape. I'm going to fill that whole area with white. So that's what I'm going to do really quick. Make a giant circle, and I'll tilt my camera a little bit so you can see it. There you go. And I'm going to fill this all in with white paint. Now, it's a little bit weird because it's white paint on a white canvas, but this is just going to help us blend. I know I got some paint over here. That doesn't matter. It won't hurt anything. Go back and forth. And I want to make sure there's a lot of white paint on there. Big circle. And then fill it all in. Kind of see that. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to dip just the tippy toesy. I'm not even going to worry about cleaning Mr. Paintbrush right now. And I'm going to pick either color blue. So I'm going to start with dark blue. Just the tippy toesy. And I'm just going to make dots around the edge of my circle. Maybe a little bit more. Just a couple of dots. Doesn't matter how many dots you do. Once I do that, I'm going to take Mr. Paintbrush. I'm going to go in a circle around the outside. And then I'm going to do slowly go in towards the middle. And what's going to happen is it's blending for me all the way into the middle. Don't do this too fast. Let's see how it blended for me. Then I can go with my next color blue. Just the tippy toes. I'm going to do the same thing, add a couple of dots around the edge. I'm going to go around the outside. I like to go around like twice usually. And then slowly, the key is doing this very slowly, very small circles. That's how it blends. And blending to the middle. And I'm just going to keep doing that. Then maybe I want to go for more blue. And I'm going to go around the outside. Now, I don't want just rings of like white, dark blue, light blue, dark blue, teal. I want it to all blend together. So I can go back and forth if I need to, but I think it's easier just to keep going in circles, let the colors overlap. That's okay. It's okay if the white starts turning blue. That's okay. Awesome. Then I'm going to go for my next color blue. Now, if I want, I could add big chunks now that I'm getting a little spread out and then fill in between there with the other blue. So I could start getting, once I get a big circle happening, then I could start just kind of filling in. And I could go around in a circle again. I want to follow the whole time this curve. So even if I don't do a perfect circle around, I still want to follow that circle shape. We don't want just like a diagonal going across. We want to follow a circle shape. If you notice your paintbrush is drying out like that, you could either get more paint or sometimes just dipping my paintbrush in some water helps it blend a little bit more too. So you could do that too. You still want to make sure there's a good amount of paint on your palette though. All right, if you feel like it's getting too dark too quickly, because we need to fade all the way from light to dark, you can go back and grab a little bit of white and put little bits of white paint in there too. You do not have to, but sometimes it helps make it blend a little bit more. I kind of like adding a little bit of light blue, a little bit of dark blue, or a little bit of teal blue. I keep saying light blue. I mean teal blue. And I'm going to go all the way up to the edge. Now, something that happens with people in every class is they forget what they're doing and then they go to the middle and, oh no, I forgot that's supposed to be white. Or they just blend it and blend it and blend it and then all the white slowly disappears or it looks like this. First of all, first thing I'm doing wrong is I'm doing a bunch of random circles. I want one little whirlpool kind of. So I want to go around in the same circle. I'm not scribbling. I'm not doing a bunch of circles all over the place. The same little spiral. If the middle loses the white, if all the white's disappearing on you, you're like, Mrs. Clay, I'm freaking out. There's no more white. My whole paper is just dark blue. You could do the opposite. What I mean by the opposite is I could clean Mr. Paintbrush in the jacuzzi, make sure he's really, really, really clean, looking nice, double checking. Then I could get white paint, just white paint, and I could go backwards. So start in the middle, and I want to start really small and go slowly because we want to push all that paint to the edges. Go in some slow circles, and I could do the reverse where I start in the middle and go towards the outside. If it's not white enough, you could just add more white. If all of a sudden your canvas is covered with a thick globby layer of paint, slow down, let it dry, and then go back in with whatever color you need. You might need to let it dry for a couple minutes. That's okay. All right, I'm going to continue on though. So once I have it blended pretty good in the middle, I'm just going to go all the way to the edge. So I'm just going to keep adding layers of dark blue and some spots of teal blue. And I want to make it so there is a perfect gradient on my canvas going from light all the way to dark. I don't want any of these harsh sections right here where it's like faded. So in order to fix that, I want to blend them into each other. Don't be afraid to add some dark blue where you feel like it needs to be a little bit darker. Don't be afraid to blend it too much. You could always add more of the darker color as it dries. You could always add more white as it dries. So don't be afraid to blend it too much. So let's take a look at mine. I'm going to keep adding it until my end is super dark over here. And if I want to add some more layers, that's okay too. I'm going to add the dark blue, and then I kind of like adding this. Notice I'm not really cleaning my paintbrush too much. The paint's not really mixing though, because I'm using as much paint as I can before dipping it again. So now it's really dark blue over here. Blending it all in. I'm just going to keep going. I want to go all the way around, get all the edges, and then I'm going to find those circle shapes again. So keep making sure it looks like a circle. And I can slowly work my way back to the middle. It's going to help it blend. Now I don't want to go down here and then skip to the middle and then skip around because that's going to mix the colors too much. I want to slowly work from the outside in, and then it will do the blending for you. So keep it in this little area. So I'm going to go around here. I feel like I'm looking at this is too white and then it gets too dark. So I'm going to try to blend this out a little bit more. So I'm just going to slowly make my way in. Go back to these spirals. It's okay to blend. Bring it all in. Maybe I need to do more of these little loop-de-loops. That's okay. See that? Too white. I could blend that out too. Just keep blending. Just keep blending. Don't be afraid. You can keep going with it. If it is the end of class and you are freaking out because you are not done blending, do not worry. I will help you next class. We'll do it together. Next class, you're going to pick out the sea creatures that you're going to have featured in your ocean. And I will help you with that. We will have some options next time on how we want to add those. We could also add some coral and some sea anemones. So keep that in mind. If there's anything specific you want in your ocean, you could do that. All right, so here is my blended out seascape. I have a little highlight from the sun. Now, if I want, let me show you the difference between a couple things. This one is pretty smoothly blended. This first example I showed you, if you look, there is a little bit more chunkiness of colors. That is okay too. So don't feel like it needs to be perfectly blended. This example I did, these are all the same color still, but I use mostly that teal color. So it looks a little bit lighter. Up to you. They are all totally okay. If it is not exactly like mine, that is totally okay. Just make sure we're taking our time and blending. I would really love to see a gradient of colors that is the blending of colors as best as you can. There should be no just rings around your paper. And I wanted to see a highlight from where the sun is going to go. So a circle of white for the sun, and then a gradient of blended colors, no just rings on your paper. All right, guys, good luck. If you needed to pause this or go back, go for it. I miss you guys today. I'll see you next class, and I'll see you later.